you started talking about you thinking about what you wanted to do after your playing career was over, and that when you quit, it was, a very hard decision for you. Ultimately, you kind of hinted at a few things, but why did you decide ultimately, I'm going to quit playing field hockey and pursue something else?
Like, to be honest, I was a bit tired of being in an extreme competitive environment constantly, in the sense where, yeah, one of the factors was I felt I was missing out. I felt I was having like a life that wasn't suited for my age. And there's some people that feel affected by that, and there's others that don't, you know what I mean? So I started, instead maybe of um, seeing all that I had achieved, I started like putting the focus on all the things that I couldn't do. Um, I also felt that
So you started
I
focusing on the negative things that you were missing out on.
exactly, I started focusing on everything that I was missing out. And after the Junior World Cup in Germany, and this is very specific, I played,
Hmm.
and this is what I felt. I felt, I wasn't starting any match like from the beginning in the field. So that affected me every match, as when the trainer decided to put me in the field, I went in and I scored a goal like every match. It was like that. So then I couldn't understand why the next one I was starting like 15 minutes later, or even after the half, in the second half, So that affected me mentally. And
Was
then
that like the politics of the team, that you're this young kid, you're not going to take an established person's spot? Do you think that was the reason why?
that was happening in the senior team, but this is the junior, this is the under
Oh, okay,
21.
got it.
So I think what was happening is that the trainer was also trying to test another girl, which is what he has to do, right? But also, that to me, it affected me in a certain way. And I started like thinking about, like, if this, if suddenly I start they don't start putting me in the matches, but I'm here training and like putting, like, leaving my life aside just for this. But like, I'm not like being in the match from the beginning, and I'm not
Hmm.
playing as much and this and that. And I started saying, I don't know if I want to dedicate my entire life to doing this. I don't have any reassurance. In a couple of years, I will not be able to do this physically. So all these thoughts started coming into my head, and I was like, I feel I need to quit and um, start like my journey in the normal, in the real
Hmm.
world. But at the same time, I also had gotten to the top level in the sport. I've seen what it is. I saw the dynamics. I saw everything, and it was like, yeah, I could repeat this for a couple more years, but I don't know if I want to do this.
So you
Uh,
wanted to kind of quit and leave on your own terms before you were maybe
yeah,
forced to stop.
yeah. And I quit it basically.
And how old were you
And
when you decided this?
21
Okay.
more or less. Also, I love skiing and snowboarding. So I went skiing and I had a really bad injury. I fractured my tibia and fibula.
Oh, wow.
So already when I was doubting and trying to quit field hockey, I went skiing, and I was going to give it a second chance. Like I said, maybe, I'll start training again and see what happens. Maybe not like in the elite and like trying to be the best, but maybe I'll play again. But I broke my leg, and that's when I quit it completely, because that's like a year recovery. So after that, I didn't go back to the sport.
Yeah. So your heart was already kind of not in it
Yeah,
100%. And then,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. And also because of breaking my leg and quitting the sport, I entered into this like black hole of not knowing what to do with my life. The only thing that I knew how to do was play field hockey since very young. The only thing they taught me was how to function in a field with a team of girls. I didn't know how to function in the normal society.
hmm.
So that brought me a lot of problems. Even like, as I was telling you, my body, how my body was at that time with all the training and the muscle, comparing myself with other girls. I had a lot, like, different eating disorders.
Mm.
Also, I started partying. All the energy that I used to put into the sport that I released, I started releasing it and channeling it in the wrong way.
So you had
And
kind of an identity crisis. I mean, this is not the first time I've heard
yes,
this.
yes,
I
very
interviewed
strong.
a former basketball player for the Egyptian national team who also played in college, and she said, when she decided to stop pursuing basketball, she had a major identity crisis because something as basic as introducing herself. She would say,
Yes,
her name, and then, I play
yes,
basketball. So
yes.
sounds like you went through some of that similar crisis and feeling of who am I
Yes,
at this point.
exactly, exactly. I didn't know who I was. I felt completely empty. And the only thing that I was doing was literally like filling myself up with different things, substances, partying, socializing, whatever, work. I was feeling myself just to numb the pain that I was feeling, because I also felt very frustrated.
Hmm.
And it's very hard to accept how we feel and embrace our emotions, even when you're younger. It's very easy to fall into all these temptations. So that's what happened to me. I was lost.
Yeah.
I had an identity crisis. So I had to start like a healing journey, you know what I mean? That took many years.
So what did you decide to do after you had started after you quit? What did you decide to do professionally?
So when I quit field hockey, I started to study graphic design in a university in Buenos Aires. When I graduated after 4 years, or five, um, then I worked in a couple agencies there in Argentina, and I decided to pursue a master's degree, and that's why I moved to New York City on design and urban ecologies, which I graduated last year.
Well, congratulations.
Um, Thank you. And that's when I realized that I had like a passion for like urban spaces, but in the sense of the people that inhabit different spaces and like getting involved in different communities. And so I decided that I wanted to pursue my health coaching career, which that's what I do right now in my current work.
Definitely want to hear more about that.
And because of, like, all these experiences that I've had, I'm also able, and it's my passion to be able to help other people achieve whatever goal they have, holistically,
Hmm.
with their emotions, physically, and spiritually.
So I want to hear more about the healing journey that you mentioned in resolving that identity crisis. And it sounds like you found some peace in who you were as a person post your athletic career. What went into that? What, maybe not one thing that really helped you, but maybe a couple things that helped you find your way through what you were dealing with.
Yeah. um, First of all, well, my healing journey, I started going to therapy for a couple of years, because that really helped me to like develop a really important sense of self-awareness. Because for whatever change we want to make in life, we first of all need to be aware that we want to change and what's happening what's our current situation. And then we have to accept, like, and sometimes accepting, like, bad things that we are going through is not a nice thing, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
the acceptance is very important, and then you're able to take action in whatever you have to do. So first, with therapy, I was able to develop a good sense of self-awareness, going to the root of the problems. And then after many years, I discovered coaching, and it was at that moment when I was able to fully, like, change my lifestyle, in the sense where I developed different tools to uh, to change my habits. Remember, I told you that I was coming from this past of feeling a void.
Yeah.
Used to feel the void with whatever, even with food, binge eating. Like, I felt sad and I went and ate so much. And then there's shame, and you fast, and all these like unhealthy eating patterns. So I had to relearn everything, even how to the relationship with myself first.
You're
The re-
rewiring your brain essentially
yeah,
at that
then
point.
yeah, exactly. Relate the relationship with the people around me, all my habits. Like imagine that the brain is used to operating like, oh, I feel sad, I need to eat a cookie and feel better. Like,
Hmm.
why are you gonna not do that if it's gonna make you feel better? It's really hard. So like training your brain for training your neurons, instead of going in the highway, that is what you know how to do, they have to go through this new road that maybe it's like unknown, and it has rocks and sticks, they have to like go around, so that's what you have to do basically. And and coaching was what allowed me to learn all these tools. And basically now that's what I do. I specialize mostly in habits, eating habits or whatever. Habits are a reflection, and it's the way our brain expresses to us how it feels on inner habits.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to put it.
So, and it's very, very difficult, but having an accountability coach, the right guidance, knowing how to set goals, realistic goals, and well, other different tools, everyone is able to attain whatever goal they have to. And of course, this depends on each person, because each person is bio individual, and what works for me won't work for you. So that's also very important to take into account.